I played every single VR sim racing game and ranked them based on how good the VR implementation is, the variety of content, and the actual driving experience. My wallet is bleeding, but yours doesn't have to, so let's kick it off with RaceRoom. This came out in 2013, but it's received countless updates since then, including for graphics, but how does it look and feel in VR? So we're now in RaceRoom in VR. I'm running the Pimax Dream Air, and what you're seeing is max settings in terms of graphics. And I wouldn't say it's too bad, but it's not amazing either. It's not gonna blow your mind in terms of graphics, but again, not bad. But I think the most important part is actually the driving feel, which is what surprised me the most about this title, especially since it's an older title, and I've gotta say it's held up really well, probably because of all of the updates that the devs have done to the driving models, to everything related to the car. And I've got to say, even in terms of the graphics inside of the car, it looks better than it does outside. Like, everything is super sharp here on the dashboard. Everything, the mirrors, everything looks great. Even the shadows are not too bad. You can see the shadows kind of flickering over there from all of these trees and everything. So overall, RaceRoom is not bad, but far from greatness in VR. I'd place it in B tier. Next, we've got rFactor 2, which also came out in 2013 and was an absolute blast back then. I couldn't afford an actual wheel and pedal, so I remember playing it using a keyboard, like a peasant. But does it still hold up 13 years and a lot of back pain later? Okay, so let's start with the obvious. The graphics are absolutely terrible in rFactor 2. And yeah, everything is maxed out, as you can imagine, and it still looks terrible. And there's some weird stuttering going on, despite the graphics looking like they do. And yeah, in terms of the feeling of driving the actual car, it's actually not bad. Like, the car feels pretty good, but yeah, the graphics it's distracting, honestly. Like, it's like driving on a PS2 game, pretty much. What just happened? Okay. My view just reset to, like, into my crotch, I guess. So, yeah, that was fun. And I'm guessing everybody can guess what tier this is going in. I'm not entirely sure if these stutters are gonna come across on the recording, but I'm at an absolutely rock solid 90 FPS, so there shouldn't be any stuttering. And yet, there is. To a degree where there are moments where I can barely actually focus on the driving just because everything's moving in a weird way, but yeah. Yeah, this one unfortunately has no other place but D tier, wouldn't recommend it one bit. Now let's talk about one of the most popular GT3 racing sims, Assetto Corsa Competizione. This has a great reputation as a sim, but a terrible one for the VR implementation due to the game engine that Kunos used here. So starting with the graphics in ACC, they're honestly not that great, so everything in terms of settings is pretty much maxed out. And as you can see, it doesn't look great. It probably looks better in the preview than it does in the actual headset. But yeah, there's floating cars in front of me, there's like shimmering edges all over. And yeah, overall I would say this doesn't look that good. Like, it's fine, but at the end of the day, its biggest and strongest point is the actual driving. And I've got to say, in terms of GT3, the driving is absolutely fantastic. There might be one title on this list that beats it, but overall ACC is a very well-balanced game, very nice and intuitive. I almost lost it there, but yeah, the driving feeling is absolutely fantastic here. And the AI is actually pretty decent, so let's see what this Lambo is doing. Yes, nothing. The force feedback as well is absolutely top-notch. Like, you can really tell what the car is doing, which I can't say about some of the other titles on this list. For the driving itself, this could have gone into A tier, but with how poor the VR implementation is, I've gotta downgrade it to B tier. Sorry, Kunos. If you've ever wondered what crashing a car at 200 miles per hour might feel like, then we need to talk about BeamNG. Now, this game has to be the absolute craziest in terms of simulation, because everything from the suspension to the individual parts of the engine supposedly work like they do in real life. But let's be honest, you're playing this for the crash physics. There's an absolutely bonkers amount of mods and things to do in BeamNG, but it's mostly a sandbox. Yeah, the graphics aren't anything outstanding, the control of the cars is somewhat realistic as much as it could be, but yeah, definitely the biggest reason to play this game is the crash physics. I don't even know what... That doesn't look good. And this is a full sandbox, so you can develop your own scenarios and come up with all kinds of weird stuff to do. You want to like go head on with the truck, you can do that. You want to like do stunt jumps, sure thing. Gonna just do this, absolutely. And yeah. For BeamNG, the crash physics are an easy S tier, but with how early the VR implementation is, the graphics and just overall high learning curve, this is all the way down in C tier for me. Next we have F125, and I really wanted to love this game. I've been trying it every year, hoping it got better than the previous version, and in some ways it has, but it's still not nearly as good as it could be. The VR implementation feels bolted on, and while I've never driven a Formula 1 car, everything here seems too arcadey for my taste, even with all of the assists turned off. So I'm not sure yet how this is going to come across on the recording, but in-game, the graphics aren't that great. Like, when you play it flat, it looks absolutely amazing. But in VR, everything is kind of a bit blurry, a bit soft, and honestly, on this headset, it's barely tolerable. And on anything else, it's not. And this is not... this is not me being a VR snob, it's just... On anything lower resolution than this, it's just way too blurry to even play. Like, I initially tried it on my Quest 3 and it looks just horrible. And again, this is not me saying you need to spend a lot of money to get a good VR headset to play it. It's just others look really good on the Quest 3 as well, whereas this one just doesn't, even on max settings. In terms of driving, it feels okay. The cars are a bit on rails, even with all the assists off. They just feel a bit too planted, and I guess, I know it's a Formula 1 car, but as you'll see later on in Assetto Corsa or even Automobilista 2 or other games, the F1 cars behave in a more realistic and natural way. Not that I've ever driven an F1 car in real life, but you know what I mean. It just it leans towards arcades, like heavily. I wish F125 could have gone higher, but this one goes into C tier as well due to the VR graphics, driving feel and high price tag. And I couldn't leave out the GOAT of sim racing, the original Assetto Corsa from 2014. This game can easily trade blows with newer titles due to its extremely dedicated modding community. Any car, any track or city you can think of is likely available. Heck, even the map from GTA San Andreas is fully drivable. And being an older game, even with enhanced graphics mods like Pure, it still performs wonderfully in VR, and despite owning all of the other games on this tier list, I still find myself going back to Assetto Corsa again and again. And now here we are in the original Assetto Corsa on the Nordschleife with the LaFerrari, so let's kind of see what this thing can do. Thought that would be smoother than it was. Still, this game to this day is absolutely fantastic. As I've mentioned before, Content Manager and Custom Shader Patch, Pure, all of that is required to make it look modern and nice. But just let me just pull over for a second, just to show you the insane detail. Let me go into a bit of light. There we go. Like, look at that. Look at all of the detail in the cockpit. Look at everything. And there are cars which have like the full dashboard, then you can play Spotify and YouTube videos in the car. If you have controllers, you can actually use your hands to do that in the car using the controller. So this is just, in terms of variety as well as the way the cars feel, like the force feedback quality and just everything overall, well, not my driving, but everything else is awesome in this one. And I think this is probably the easiest ones to rank from this entire video. because it's just so iconic, so good, so satisfying. So anything you want to drive, anywhere you want to drive, it's in here. And this is what I was talking about when I said there's infinite mods for this, because I don't know if you recognize this, but this is the map from Need for Speed Most Wanted, the original one. And you can drive it, like, you can drive all of it. This one, the map from GTA, maps from like any other game you've seen, is fully drivable. Again, the maps don't fix bad driving. There's no other spot for Assetto Corsa than A tier. It's an excellent game, super cheap, very good performance, and awesome in VR. Give me a second to get ready for this next one. Okay, let's talk about iRacing, the sim of choice for Max Verstappen and other real-life Formula 1 drivers, and by far the most expensive one on this list. If you are crazy enough to want to buy everything, your total would land at over $2,000. Now, realistically, you don't need everything, because each season has a set of cars and tracks that are most used in that season. But credit where credit is due, the performance and VR implementation are flawless, and the driving experience is incredible. Plus, the iRating system and multiplayer safety ratings are something every sim racing title should have. So there is definitely good reason why all the pro F1 drivers and sim racers just use this as their go-to sim. It's expensive, but the driving feeling is probably the most refined out of all of them. Like the way the cars behave, the force feedback, the sound, even the graphics, like they're not bad. They're not by any means anything insane, because it's not made to distract you with like pretty reflections and stuff like that. But as you can see, the game looks nice. This is max graphics, but even on lower graphics, I used to play this on my old PC on an RTX 3070, and the game still looked fantastic, even in VR, even on something like a Quest 3. So this is made to be played by as many people on as many PC configurations and VR headsets as possible. But it comes with a very hefty price tag. So there's basically a subscription, a monthly subscription, and then on top of that subscription you have to pay for a lot of content. It comes with some free content, like a few free cars and a few free tracks, but then every single car and track you want to buy, you want to play, you need to buy. And the problem is every season it changes. So the rotation of cars and tracks changes, so it's not like you buy your 3 favorite cars and 3 favorite tracks and can run them forever. Well, you can run them forever offline, like I am right now in practice essentially. But if you want to do the online aspect, which is why iRacing is what it is, it's the best in terms of online, the safety rating, the iRating, everything else is very well made. And of course the driving, as I mentioned earlier, but otherwise it gets really expensive really quick. Just the raw quality of the racing is just so good. And this is AI, by the way, and it's still really damn good. Like, it's really engaging, it does what it's supposed to do, it doesn't do stupid stuff. Like, it's designed to make mistakes like humans would, but not like ridiculously stupid mistakes. iRacing is S tier in many aspects, but due to the price tag, I have to drop it down to A. Let's switch gears and talk about rally sims, and my go-to here is still good old Dirt Rally 2.0. The newer EAWRC has an absolutely horrendous VR implementation, and I've got a separate video talking all about it, and then the newer Assetto Corsa Rally is absolutely fantastic. But official VR support is not here yet, even though it can be played via UEVR. Dirt Rally 2.0, though, is a masterpiece in my opinion. VR works great in it, the driving feels intuitive, and the adrenaline you get from it is sky high. So fun fact, I actually used to own this exact car, well, not the Rally one obviously, but the Citroen C4. And yeah, let's try and talk through Dirt Rally 2.0 while I do this, which is going to be extremely intense, but we're gonna make it. So basically what I love most about this is it strikes a really good balance between simulation and arcade. Like, it's still very difficult to drive and very kind of adrenaline fueled, but at the same time it is approachable and you can get used to it. Just make sure to turn your force feedback way down, because otherwise you might break a finger. But yeah, otherwise the graphics look really nice. I'm happy with it. What you're seeing now is maxed graphics, same as most of the other games, and it performs really well. Like I'm locked at 90 FPS right now, and there's no shimmering, there's no like ghosting, no blur, no like it genuinely looks really good. And honestly, again, I know I've said it already probably twice by now, but in terms of adrenaline, rally games are where it's at. Like, yes, it can be intense in Formula games, it can be intense in like iRacing, it can be intense in a lot of things, but there's absolutely nothing like rally, just because it's so fast-paced and every single corner can basically kill you. Oh, that was a nice one. Drop a like if you enjoyed that corner. And this is so much better than the new EA WRC, like from the way the cars handle to the graphics in VR. Like EA WRC looks better as a flat game, but in VR it looks absolutely horrible. I'll leave a link to my other video about it up here somewhere, and you can have a look if you want, but TLDR, I don't recommend it. And yeah, in terms of performance, in terms of how it drives, in terms of just fun element overall and VR implementation, this game is really good. And being an older title, you can grab it for a really good price as well. Like, it goes on sale on Steam very often, and yeah, I highly recommend this one if you're into rally games. And if you're not into rally games, I still recommend it. You need to try this stuff, because you have not experienced adrenaline like this. Dirt Rally 2.0 is an absolute banger and a must-try in VR, so easy A tier for me. Now, the new kid on the block that seems to be giving Assetto Corsa Competizione a run for their money, Le Mans Ultimate. Now, I initially tried this when it first came out and wasn't really that impressed, but the devs have consistently improved it, and now I much prefer it over Competizione. The cars feel more grounded, the VR implementation is better, and while it's not perfect and has a pretty steep pricing model, I've been really enjoying it. I guess the partnership with Pimax really paid off in terms of the VR implementation, because this has improved quite a lot. And in terms of the feeling of driving the cars, this is really giving ACC a run for its money, and in my opinion, this actually feels better, and it definitely performs and looks way better. Now, the graphics aren't obviously anything mind-blowing for a game this new. It could have looked better. By the way, this is full ultra graphics on everything, and the recording is done in 4K 60, so this is the max quality you can kind of expect out of this game. But I have to say, even on these settings, it's running fantastically in terms of performance. Like, I'm getting no stutters, no anything. I am on a 5090, but believe me, that doesn't mean you can max out every single game, especially like sim racing titles and flight simulators are very difficult to actually max out while also recording in 4K 60. It's tough, even for a 5090. So having this kind of performance is actually not bad and pretty impressive. Le Mans Ultimate edges out ACC in most aspects, so it's going into A tier. Absolutely great if you're into GT3 and endurance races. Self-proclaimed the real driving simulator, Gran Turismo 7 is sadly still only available on PlayStation, despite them probably making absolute bank with a PC release. Now, from a pure driving feel and progression perspective, GT7 could have been my favorite one in this entire video. The cars feel grounded and responsive, and while I'd put this more into the simcade category, I've got a big stupid smile on my face every time I play it. The biggest drawback here are the visuals while in VR. I'm playing this on a PS5 Pro, and while it is noticeably better than the base PS5, it just can't compete with a gaming PC when it comes to playing it in VR. On a TV, this looks way better than most, if not all, modern racing sims, but in VR, it's pretty damn blurry. Just in terms of how complete the game feels, there's nothing like Gran Turismo 7, honestly. It has a full career with progression, online multiplayer, really well made. The cars drive really nicely, and the graphics, at least on flat screen, are absolutely amazing. Now, in VR, it's held back a bit by the lenses of the PSVR 2, as well as the power of the PS5 or PS5 Pro. And when it comes to the AI, there's just nothing like Sophie. And by the way, Sophie is what Gran Turismo calls their most advanced AI ever, which is really advanced, to be honest. Like, look at this, they're fighting for their place, they're not just running a predetermined line. Look at the way they're moving in front of me. So Sophie is actually genuinely amazing. I'm not, but Sophie is. Despite the bad graphics in VR, Gran Turismo 7 is an 8-year sim and honestly a technical wonder for something running on a console. This one definitely has S-tier potential, but maybe not just quite yet. I'm talking about Assetto Corsa EVO, currently still in early access at version 0.6. The attention to detail here is excellent, from the laser scan tracks to the smallest interior features of the cars. And it looks fantastic on flat screen, but unfortunately there's still quite a bit of work to be done on the VR side. I'm running this on a PC with an RTX 5090 and still struggling with performance even on medium settings, when all the other games we've talked about were pretty much maxed out. In terms of raw potential, AC EVO already has all of the ingredients it needs to become the absolute best racing sim out there. The problem is it's still not quite there in terms of performance, both flat and especially in VR, but the cars do handle amazingly, the graphics are fantastic. I'm running it on Ultra right now and I'm hitting about 80 FPS at this super high resolution, so that's actually really good compared to a few versions ago. And yeah, overall I'm really loving this and cannot wait to see them polish it even more, because they keep adding things and fixing things with every single update, and I think it's still set to release this fall, so we're not far away from it. So hopefully they will start to focus more on the VR side of things soon. I'm just happy that they at least had VR from the get-go. So hopefully they fix the performance, get it to a place where more people can play it and you don't need a 5090 to just barely even get to 90 FPS. So yeah. I'm sure this ranking for AC EVO is gonna go way higher, but for the time being, B tier is where it's sitting. And now probably the most balanced sim racing title on this list, Automobilista 2. This is again an older title that came out in 2020, but the developer's dedication is off the charts. They're constantly releasing updates and the game looks and performs beautifully both in and out of VR. The selection of cars and tracks is great and multiplayer is genuinely fun. Now they could definitely use some sort of safety rating system, but even without it, fighting 20 other players and Mini Coopers around the Nordschleife is an unforgettable experience. And now here we are in Automobilista 2, and guys, this game looks incredible, but it not only looks incredible, it actually drives incredible as well. It's at the right price, it has a ton of content available, both tracks and cars, and most of all, the VR implementation and performance are absolutely on point. All of the cars in the game feel really nice to drive, and I've gotta say, it doesn't seem as punishing as some of the other titles on this list. So if you mess up, and not that you can't mess up here, I'm just about to do it now, saved it. But yeah, it doesn't feel as brutal as some of the other ones, like in iRacing and even in the original Assetto Corsa. One tiny mistake and you're in a wall, I was about to say. And here it feels like you have a chance to save it. Now I don't know if it's the really good force feedback that communicates really nicely to you and kind of tells you what the car is doing, so that you can kind of feel when you need to counter steer, when you need to lay off the throttle, when you need to like press the brakes. I don't know what it is, but it feels really good as a sim. Now, not everything about Automobilista 2 is great. The AI is passable at most. It's not great. They have made a lot of progress with some of the latest updates, but yeah, it's still, as you can see, they're all going in a straight line. They're following the same virtual line they've been programmed to, so they don't really have a brain of their own. But yeah, I guess that's fine, and combined with everything else I've talked about regarding Automobilista 2, I would say, again, it's passable. It's okay, not great, and I'm sure it's going to improve with time, but right now it's not super challenging, as you can see. Well, okay, I spoke too soon. If you want headache-free, great-looking VR with awesome driving physics, Automobilista 2 is it. So it's going into S tier as my #1 recommendation, especially if you don't want to get crazy serious with an iRacing subscription. Let me know in the comments if you agree with my rankings, and here are 2 other videos you might want to watch next. I'll see you soon, guys. Cheers!